You're telling me there's pups in this house? Let's go check it out. So this is our aloe vera plant that we got from Lowe's, and you can see it's starting to get all of these little guys down at the bottom. The main plant's up here. I take no credit for how well this guy's grown. I take all credit for it almost dying twice. Aloe vera, this is what it's called, the mother plant is the original one. And this mother plant was actually about the size of these pups whenever we bought it. But one of the ways aloe vera reproduces is by like a budding technique, and it creates little pups that bunch off and kind of grow and do their own thing. And so today, this pot's getting a little full, and we're going to remove the pups from the mom and put them in their own little planters. So I made these planters. They are just sauce jars. There's a little viewing window on the side. I'm hoping so that'll help with the moisture content since this has no drainage. And then there's rocks just from the backyard that I'm hoping can act as a little reservoir. And I just painted the rest in chalk paint to give the roots a chance. Roots don't like light, it harms their growth, and so that's one of my problems when working with upcycling with glass is see-through. So using chalk to block out the chalk paint to block out that light, and then you can also decorate the container as well. Aloe's pretty hardy. What I've seen online is you can just pop them out and you don't even really need roots to sprout them, but I would like to have roots. Since I've had some life expectancy issues, I want to assess the root situation because this plastic pot also doesn't have any drainage. I let it dry out a little bit so I knew it would be easy to pop out.
Water! Gravy!
One of the things is that I struggled with was overwatering. So that's when the base of the plant turns brown. But then I also struggled with underwatering, and that's when the tips of the plant turns brown. It was much easier to recover it from underwatering. You just give it a good watering. Doesn't seem like we have too much root binding down here. It is turning green. I'm not actually, like the roots are red and green. Usually they're just white, so I wonder if they're trying to sprout up some more plants or something. I'm just gonna break it apart and give it some fresh soil because it's been in the same pot for quite some time now, and I've seen some people just be really rough with their plants. I'm scared, it's my first time. And one of the ways you can tell the kind of like if a plant's old besides the size is the spotting pattern. So on the pups there's more spots, and then on the older mother plant, especially this one here, you can see there's like hardly any spots at all. This is still, I'd say, a young plant compared to some of the ones I've seen online, or like the aloe vera branches that you can get at the store. When we first moved in, it was really hard to find a aloe plant actually. I have very fair skin and I'm very susceptible to sunburn. In this sunny Utah, I ended up chopping quite a bit of this guy down, and we've used it for like minor scrapes and stuff, so it's definitely used. So this is interesting. This is actually part of the mother plant. The pups are growing in between the mother plant kind of like leaf. All right, here we have one that has a nice little healthy root, and I'm trying to get 3 today because that's all the pots I've made. And this guy's a little stubby, but he's got a root too. So if we pull this back, this is the mother plant. We can see the little pups underneath. I'm just gonna take it off. They're pretty little. I'm just gonna take the biggest one. Okay, so he doesn't have any root at all. I'm just gonna try that guy and leave these 2 little pups here. And if this guy dies, then we can replant it with the other one. All right, I will give her more potting soil. But for now, I just want to get these into some potting soil. So here we have these little guys. They're little planters, some potting soil. I cut little squares from a nasty old t-shirt the husband had that I'm trying to upcycle as well. And we're gonna try to make a pouch so that way not too much dirt falls down into the reservoir. So I didn't actually see any instructions for this. This is what the husband would call my creative liberties. It's a total complete idea that I made up. We'll see what happens. We put some dirt in our little pouch and we're gonna shove it in here, push it up against the sides, create a little filter. These would be nice to sell at a farmer's market. We'll see how they go. The point to separate the dirt from the rocks is literally just to make it keep it looking pretty. Nothing else. If you're doing this at home or whatever, you don't need to have this little t-shirt or this little piece of fabric. So I want the roots to be able to access that growing space. And let's try the biggest one and just put that in there. Here you have these kind of like a stem, and if these guys are under the dirt, they'll kind of like rot off. So I'm just gonna actually pull them, and I'm just gonna try to fill it up with the dirt to about this line, so that way the whole stem is kind of under the potting soil. What I struggle with when it comes to upcycling these glass jars, glass bottles for planters is that the soil tends to stay really, really moist, really hydrated. Not all plants like that, and it also causes a fungus to grow sometimes. I think the fungus we have is it's not gonna hurt anything. It's like just a white cold fungus. It doesn't seem to hurt the plants that we grow, but it's not pretty. I'll just let the plant dry out a little extra and try to kill off that fungus. We don't actually have a good window for the sun here, so that's a problem too. Aeration depends. It's better in the summer, but like as the winter comes, we're gonna keep the house all closed up. Alrighty, so we have our first little pup propagated for our viewing pleasures. Soil, fabric, rocks, little filter system. Isn't that cute? Now that I'm looking at these jars are probably a bit too small for these buds, these pups. If I were to get something like this at the store, I'd repot it. That might be the reason why my aloe, actually, the mother aloe, did pretty well, is that I just repotted it right away. And I gave it fresh food through the soil, more space for it to grow. Not everybody is interested in growing, a whole ton of aloe, so a small little piece of aloe like this, it'll grow some. Kitchen setup, windowsill setup could be nice and cute and perfect. And normally I would water after, but this potting soil was sitting out it like rained and sleeted or something, so it's quite moist. I don't think they need watered. I have low hopes for this guy. Sorry, little guy. So that was my first time propagating aloe plants, and I think it went well. My gram taught summer classes to kids, and I participated in those summer classes until I was 13. That is the age, or 12, that's the age limit. And at 13, that's when I became a camp aide, and I helped teach some of these classes. One of them, was upcycling projects, and so she would collect clean materials that most people would probably just throw away, and she'd try to teach the kids creative ways to turn them into books, turn them into games, turn them into anything. And so I definitely think that's something that I'm happy to have learned from her. Definitely, one of the biggest problems around here is that there is a really not great options for recycling things, but we do live in a very commercialized world, and that can be difficult. So I like to upcycle, so these jars should be able to still be recycled even after they're if they're owners of these plants don't want them anymore, you can still recycle them. This is latex paint, so all you have to do is put it in some warm water and it'll peel right off the glass. I just think it's really important, since we live in a very throwaway culture. Everyone wants to throw things away, out of sight, out of mind. I think that includes people as well, our senior people, just get sent away to living homes, or our houseless people would get just forgotten about. And not everything has to be trash, just needs a little little makeover, a little help, a little encouragement, and it could be something beautiful. So that's my real talk.